Student diversity. What is diversity and what types of diversity are there? Diversity is the understanding that everyone, no matter where they come from, the language they speak, whether they're a boy or girl or the religion, has their own unique way of learning and understanding of something. There are 6 types of diversity that influence a student's learning: gender, cultural, family, language, religious, and socioeconomic. What are the most common types of diversity teachers experience? The most common types of diversity teachers experience are family, religion, and socioeconomic. With family diversity, students live with their parents, other family members, or even their adopted parents or a whole different culture. Sometimes where a student lives and whom they live with distracts them from their learning and success. Sometimes when a student's learning, and their family is facing something, and because it's family diversity, it means everybody in their family is kind of different. They feel weird and awkward and uncomfortable. Religion has an influence on students when it comes to activities required in school. Sometimes another student might comment on somebody else's religion or insult it, and sometimes that can stick with the student and the way they learn, and sometimes it'll be on their mind the whole time. They kind of just forget that they need to focus on their education instead of what somebody else said. Socioeconomic diversity deals with classrooms full of students that live in low-income settings. This makes the school experience for students not as much fun as they were hoping. Because students live in low-income settings, they don't get to experience as much because their parents or the people that they're living with can't afford it because of their income. They're basically living in poverty. Like I said, socioeconomic diversity means that you're living basically in poverty. And socioeconomic diversity is the most common diversity found in Wyoming. Sometimes, depending on how much a parent makes, the government will assist them in whatever they need. So, for school lunches at school, students will get reduced lunch, but it's not as much because of how much the student's parent makes. And it doesn't matter how much the government gives, it still feels that it's never enough. Why is it important for teachers to be familiar with these different types of diversity? It's important for teachers to be familiar with these different types of diversity so they know how to approach the students. Each diversity plays a role in how a student learns and their behavior in the class. If teachers can be familiar with these different types of diversities, then they'll know how to create a better learning environment for students in the classroom than they have outside of the school. So different age groups and different genders and all of these kids that are so different from one another, they'll learn how to work together and teach each other to learn and work together to become a better classroom environment that helps them learn and have better attitudes. How can teachers recognize these different types of diversities and understand them? Teachers can recognize these different types of diversities by studying each type of diversity and what normally causes a change of behavior when learning. When teachers can understand a student, it means they've gotten close enough to the student that the student feels comfortable enough to share what's going on with them and why they're acting the way they are and what's making it so hard for them to learn. And sometimes teachers can help, and sometimes they just try the best they can. And maybe they'll get in contact with the parents or the guardian of the student outside of school and talk with them to see what they can do to make the student have a better classroom experience. How can these types of diversities be an asset in education and in learning? These types of diversities can be an asset in education because they set expectations for students. Esther Quintero said, in the classroom, differences can become assets. Said, complex instruction can produce achievement gains across a variety of age groups and tasks by elevating the participation rates and status of low-income students. When learning, if students work together in groups they normally wouldn't work with, they'll overcome their differences and work together to succeed as individuals and as group members. And they'll realize that everybody learns the same, maybe not, they learn the same material. Their education is important as everybody else, and if they can learn to teach each other that and to overcome their differences as a class and as a group, then they'll become better individuals and succeed better as individuals. The references I used were from Your Introduction to Education, from Chapter 2, Student Similarities and Differences, and an article by Esther Quintero, In the Classroom, Differences Can Become Assets.